Seen again. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Today's topic will be discussing on how to reinvent yourself. Yes, how to reinvent yourself and reinvent your career. Okay, I have to face the screen. Hello, welcome again to today's meeting. And today's meeting we'll be talking about how to reinvent yourself. How to reinvent yourself and how to reinvent your career. Reinvention is something that is very important in everyone's day to day life. If you don't reinvent yourself, you will discover that sooner than later you will become irrelevant in this life or in your environment. Yes, everything is changing. Life is changing. Organizations are changing. People are changing. And I don't see any reason why things are changing. Organizations are moving, they are shifting, and you are static. You are not moving, you are not growing, you're not, evolving. You're not evolving. When I was in school in biology class, they gave us an example of the life cycle of a butterfly. And they said the life cycle of a butterfly is a cycle that evolves from the larva to the pupa, from the pupa to uh, the maggot, and from the maggot to the full-blown butterfly. If a butterfly can evolve from a little stage to a full-blown beautiful butterfly, I don't see any reason why you and I should not evolve in our life, should not evolve in our in growth, in career, in life, in business, in marriage, and in every area of our lives. So that's why this topic is very crucial. It's crucial because reinvention is important in our day-to-day life. This life is moving so rapidly. Technology is taking over. Prior to COVID, nobody ever believed that a time will come where online meetings will be more important, or let me use this word, a time will come where people will prefer online gatherings. A lot of people will gather online and they will hold meeting online, hold interview online. I have done interviews online several times after COVID, but before COVID, these things were new. It was almost unbelievable. Nobody will even believe that such a thing would happen, that a time will come where meetings, large gatherings will be held online, where important meetings will be held online, where interviews will be held online. Interviews that will determine a company's success, a company's growth will be held online. But these things happen now, like it was never there was never a change, but there was a change. That's why we need to understand that the change is not going to stop now. This is not the end of the change. More changes are coming, and that's why you and I need to reinvent ourselves as the day goes by. So I'm going to pull up my slide again, and you will see, and I'll walk you through how to reinvent yourself and why you should reinvent yourself. I'll pull up my slide and I'll walk you through how to reinvent yourself and why you should reinvent yourself. Now to my slide. Let me take off. Okay. Presentation. So, how to reinvent yourself and your career. I've talked about this earlier in the first live session I had before the meeting went off, but I just need to go through the slide again. Upgrading your capacity to take advantage of change. Upgrading your capacity to take advantage of change. And I've also talked about myself, how I have reinvented myself from one stage to another, from a lawyer, an author, a people practitioner, an expert in goal setting, wealth management, career balance, and I'm currently reinventing myself in the legal field by becoming a solicitor in England and Wales, preparing for my UK solicitor's exam, and pushing on in that level of reinvention. I have over 10 years of leadership experience. Yes, I do. And also, I've helped professionals transform and reinvent their lives, build their financial literacy, and achieve their goals. I'm also an author of two books. One of them is Value Rules the World, and another one is Leadership from Nothing to Something. My email is there. My email is there. My website is there. You can email me. You can WhatsApp. You can email me. You can also book me if you want more coaching on reinvention. I've also talked about a few years ago, people and organizations were getting stranded. COVID was a time where a lot of organizations had to reinvent. Let me say that again, and we're closing this slide. COVID, sorry, a second. COVID was a time when a lot of organizations had to reinvent. They had to, you know, you either reinvent or you fizzle out. A lot of companies crashed during COVID. A lot of people lost their jobs. Millions of people, not just in Africa, but in America, in UK, and many others died. So there was a need for reinvention. There was a need for people to be able to come out of their shell and restructure their life together with the current happenings, together with the current situation. And that's why reinvention is needed. And guess what? Reinvention is still needed. Even after COVID, you still need to keep changing, to keep restructuring, to keep building your life. Don't say, oh, COVID is over. I need to go back to my old self. There is no old self. If you don't reinvent yourself, sooner or later you will become irrelevant. It's just a matter of time. Any organization who doesn't think about reinvention, restructuring, who does not think about change, such organization is going to fizzle out in a matter of years. Such organization is going to be irrelevant, is going to be outdated in a matter of years. Same with human being. Any human being who does not want to reskill, reinvent, restructure, such person is going to be irrelevant. Such person is going to be outdated. Your skills, your credentials are going to be outdated. It's just a matter of time. Then you discover that you are left behind. That's one of the reasons why reinvention is important, both for you and for me. Another thing I want to say about reinvention is, which is on my slide, I just want to pull up my slide again so you get the importance of reinvention. And I will teach you, I will guide you and train you on how to reinvent yourself. So just follow up with me and enjoy the ride. Uh, okay. So, why is reinvention important? Why is reinvention important? I'm going to give you reasons why reinvention is important. Number one, we are designed to evolve with growth. You need to outgrow growth plateau. If you don't outgrow where you are, you become too small for it. If you don't outgrow where you are, you become too small for it. If you don't outgrow where you are, you become too small for it. And now let me say it again in the hearing of everyone. If you don't outgrow where you are, you become too small for it. If you don't outgrow where you are, you will become too small for it. We are designed for growth. Human beings are designed to grow. The day you were born, the day you were born, it was expected by your parents, by God, by people, that you will grow from being a baby to being a teenager, from being a teenager to being a young adult or a youth, from being a young adult to being an older person, and from being an older person to probably being a much more older person, like a grandpa. So, as a human being, Our life cycle is designed for growth. And at every area of our life, we should understand that growth is not just biological. It's not just in our physique. It's not just in our physique. It's not just in our body structure, but growth should also go in every area of our lives. Before I started, I read through my biography about me. I talked about how I went to school. I had a BL. I also had an LLB. I'm an author. I also have a degree, a master's degree, and now I'm pursuing a solicitor's certification in England and Wales. That is growth, and more growth will come. So, as human beings, you should understand that we are designed for growth in every area of our life, not just biological growth, not just biological growth and physical growth, but also financial growth, also intellectual growth, also marital growth, also growth, career growth, growth in every area of our life, family growth. So we should know that reinvention is important in every area, not just some area, every area of our lives, because all about our life is designed for growth. Also, you should know that where is it? So I talked about we are designed to evolve with growth. We are designed to evolve with growth. If you don't outgrow where you are, you become too small for it. Um, Now, there's something called midlife crisis. We are designed for metamorphosis. It's not the best, this is not the best version of you. So, there is something called midlife crisis. We are designed for metamorphosis. This is not the best version of you. You should understand something. If you don't grow, if you don't grow, a time will come. It's called midlife crisis, when you look back at your life and you discover that you have not achieved so much. One of the major things that might have grown in your life at that time will be your age, but every other thing looks stagnant. Every other thing looks like it's not working. If you are in that stage right now, it's if you're in that stage right now, it's how will I put it now? If let me just focus on if you're not in that stage. If you're not in that stage right now, it's something you should know that it will come. Yes. If you're not in that stage, my hair. If you're not in that stage right now, it's something that you should know that it will come if you don't evolve with growth. So there's something called midlife crisis, and that is between maybe your 40s to your 45, or your 35 to your 45, where you look back at your life and you discover that you have not really achieved so much. You're not really gotten what you worked for, or you've not really generated the fruits that you expected. When we grow, when we evolve with growth, such crisis is limited. Such crisis, such regret, such devastated situation or devastated season is limited or even eradicated. That's why we need to grow. That's why you need to grow, and you need to evolve with growth. Growth is not a one-time thing. Growth should be constant. Growth should be Growth is not a one-time thing. Growth should be constant. Growth should be strategic. Okay. What else again? So let me pull up my slides again and do this. Yoma Bruno, help me, please. Your environment, technology, knowledge, etc. is changing. If you don't change, you get out of fit. with the environment. Your environment, technology, etc. is changing. If you don't change, you get out of fit with the environment. So you should understand that not just that you should understand that not just that you are designed to evolve with growth, which is very important. And may I also say that this is not the best version of you. There is more of you inside of you. There is more of you inside of you. And that's why you should evolve with growth, because there is more. This is not the best version of you. You need to bring out the best. You need to bring out more that is inside of you, that needs to go through the fires of growth, that needs to go through the fires of growth, that needs to go through the stages of growth, so you can metamorphose into a newer version, a better version, a fresher version, so you can metamorphose into a higher version of you. Yes, a higher version of you. And that's what I call reinvention. Your environment is changing. Your environment is changing. Technology is taking over everything. Knowledge is evolving. New discoveries are being made, are being exhibited. Many things, new things are being discovered. This is why you need to grow, because if technology is moving at a rapid speed, at a fast speed, knowledge is increasing, new skills, new career paths are, breaking out, then there is no reason for you and I to be in to be with the previous knowledge we knew, or to just have the previous intelligence we used to have. There is a need for you and I to go with the movement of the technology. There's a need for you and I to be able to grow grow with the trend of technology, grow with the knowledge that is pulling out, grow with the way your environment is growing. Yes, may I tell you that your organization is growing? Your organization is growing. Every reasonable organization should be moving from one level, one stage of growth to another. Your organization is growing. And if you don't grow with your organization, if you don't grow in that speed of your organization, you may be laid off, you may be fizzled out, you may be removed from your position, you may be told to either resign or you'll be sacked, because as your organization grows, new knowledge is expedient, it's expected of you to evolve with that growth. So organizations are changing, are evolving. Growth is happening. Technology is evolving. New knowledge are coming out. And so we need to be able to match up with the newest trend, with the latest trend, so that we can stay relevant. Still on why we need to grow. Oh, yes, why we need to grow. Still on why we need to grow. Why is reinvention? Why is reinvention important? Rather, still on why is reinvention important? And we talked about how we need to get out of fit with the environment. The environment is changing, and if we don't change, we get out of fit with the environment. You need to change rapidly to be in step with rapid change. Your skill can become obsolete. Don't be a victim of change. So I just want to talk on don't be a victim of change. You need to change rapidly to be in step with the rapid change. Your skill can become obsolete. Yes. So let me talk briefly on that. You need to change rapidly to be able to match up the rapid change. Your skill can become obsolete. There is a great need for you to move with the changes. Otherwise, you'll be a victim of change. Don't be a victim of change. Don't be a victim of being irrelevant in your organization, in your society, or even in your family, because they are now, because as I said earlier, technology is changing, the environment is changing, your organization is changing. Why are you the only one not changing? Why are you the only one not reinventing yourself? Why are you the only one not evolving in growth? Why are you deciding to be static with your life, static with knowledge, static with wisdom, static with your intellect, with your skill, with your career? Careers are changing, new careers are opening up, and some old career paths are closing up. So why are you the only one choosing to remain in that career path when you know that career path is becoming traditional, is becoming ancient? That is why I said you should not be a victim of change. You should not be a victim of being irrelevant in the society. You should not be a victim of being outdated. And this is why you need to reinvent yourself. Okay. So what next? People and organization growing around you. If you stop growing, people and organization are growing around you. If you stop growing, they will catch up with you and make you undesirable. Human nature craves for new experiences. Human nature craves for new experiences. People and organizations are growing around you. If you stop growing, they will catch up with you and make you undesirable. So let me say this again so that so you can understand better. Human nature craves for new experiences. People and organizations are growing around you. If you stop growing, you make yourself undesirable. You make yourself irrelevant. You make yourself out of fit. You make yourself outdated. Okay, that's that for it. And another one I want to say is um now let's go for the next slide. What's the next slide saying? This is the slide. Okay, slide 11. Your life is changing. You are enjoying promotion and increase in your education, your career. You need to expand your capacity to maximize new opportunities. So, one thing about reinvention is that it helps you to be able to maximize new opportunities. That's why reinvention is important. It helps you to be able to maximize new opportunity. You need to expand your capacity to maximize new opportunities. So let me say this again. Um, your life is changing, whether you change or not. Your life is changing. One thing about reinvention, and why I advocate for everyone to reinvent themselves, is that reinvention helps you to be able to maximize new opportunities. When you reinvent yourself, when you restructure yourself, you evolve with growth. It helps you to maximize new opportunities. Yes, it helps you to expand into it helps you to expand your capacity to maximize new opportunities. More opportunities will come even as you evolve with growth, even as you grow into a newer version of you. And when those opportunities come, you need a bigger shoe most of the time to fit into those opportunities. Your old shoe may be too small for that big opportunity, for that big break. And that's why growth is important. That's why reinvention is crucial. That's why reinvention is crucial for your life. for your career, for every area, and in every area of your life. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So the next thing here is presentation. Okay. Okay. The loss of a job, marriage, or loved one can require restructuring of one's lives. Yes, being able to reinvent help one to create new beginning. The loss of a loved one. During COVID, a lot of people lost loved ones, and so they needed to reinvent themselves to be able to adapt to not having those people around them anyone anymore. A divorce can make you to reinvent your life. So don't say, oh, you know what, things are working well for me. I don't need to reinvent my life. Everyone needs to reinvent their life seasonally, strategically, structurally. It could be the loss of a job, like during COVID, a lot of people lost their job. It could be the loss of marriage. It could be a loss of a loved one. Uh, all of this requires restructuring. All of this requires you to reinvent yourself and help you create a new beginning, help you create a new substance. Yes, all of this will require. All of this will require you to reinvent yourself. All of this will require you to help you to restructure the loss of a loved one. As I said, during COVID, a lot of people lost their loved ones. A lot of people um, had to start all over again without their spouse or their children because of the death of a loved one. Same thing with a divorce. A divorce can make you to reinvent your life. A divorce can make you to start again. It can be quite devastating, for some special cases, some special divorce cases can be quite devastating for two lovebirds to separate, for some irreconcilable differences. But these stages of your life should not keep your life static, should not keep your life stagnant or take your life backward. This is a time where you can reinvent yourself and come into a newer version, a better version of yourself. And that's why reinvention is important. So don't say, you know what, everything is working good for me. I don't need reinvention. Everyone needs reinvention. At every stage, you need to reinvent. Let's give an example of you being a supervisor. Let's say you were a supervisor and you got promoted to becoming a manager of a company. You got promoted to becoming a manager of a company. At that point, you cannot use the same skill of being a supervisor to apply wholly in being a manager. Probably when you were a supervisor, you were supervising 10 people, and now you're a manager, you need to supervise 50 people. You need new skills, you need new, you need new structuring, you need to read more, you need to understand more. You need leadership skills. You need to be able to lead more people. You need managerial skills to manage more people, more structure. That's why reinvention is important. If you use the supervisory knowledge you had to manage the people, the 50 people that have been given to you, you may lose that job. And let's also say that you were promoted again from being a manager to becoming a managing director. You need more, you know, you need to reinvent yourself and you need more skill, more knowledge, more capacity to fit into that shoe. So reinvention is so procedural. Reinvention is so it's a constant thing, and reinvention is also a continuous process. It's not something you get to a stage and you rest. If you really want growth, real growth, continuous growth, steady growth, if you really need rapid growth, then you know that reinvention is not optional for you. It is mandatory at every phase of your life. So now let's talk about, let me put this in. Now let's talk about how to reinvent. How can I reinvent myself, reinvent my career, and every area of my life? Let's talk about that. The first thing you need to do to reinvent yourself is do your assessment of who you are. Do your assessment of who you are, know where you are starting from. Do psychometric tests. Let me do this. Hmm. So the first thing you need to know about how to reinvent yourself is for you to know who you are. You need to do an assessment. So the first thing you need to do, your Runa, please. Runa, please. So the first thing you need to do about so the first thing you need to know about how to reinvent yourself is that you need to know who you are. Yes, you need to know who you are. Do an assessment about yourself. Do an assessment about do an assessment of who you are. Do an assessment of who you are. You need to know who you are. Do an assessment of who you are. Know where you are starting from. Do psychometric tests. Know your strengths and your weaknesses. Knowing your temperament, your personality type, and learn personally and learn team personality rather. Learn team personality, assessing your self-image, your leadership skills, your spiritual growth, your paradigm shifting experience for you. The paradigm shifting experience for you. So as I said, the first assessment you need to do is that you need to do an assessment of who you are now. Who are you? Know where you are starting from, do psychometric tests, know your strengths and your weaknesses. Now let me talk about this. Okay, so let me talk about um no, no, no. You know. Mm. Okay. So you need to do an assessment. So you need to do an assessment. The first stage of how to reinvent yourself is to do an assessment of who you are now. Yes, you need to know who you are. You need to know your strengths. You need to know your weaknesses. One of the ways I do this assessment is one of the ways I do this assessment is to take the personality test. The personality test will help you to know your personality traits, your personality will help you to know if you are an extrovert, if you are an introvert, if you are a super extrovert or you are a super introvert. For me, I am a super extrovert. And when I took that personality test, that was when I discovered that I was not just an extrovert, but a super extrovert. And this test will help you, your team, even your family members. I advise couple to take personality tests as well. Will help you to know who you are. Will help you to also know who the people you work with are as well. I run a non-profit, and when a new employee comes into my non-profit, when a new worker, a new staff is recruited into my non-profit, one of the tests I tell the staff to do is to take the personality test. This will help you to be able to know the strength of every team member and help you to know how to leverage those strengths for the growth of your organization. Yes, some team members may be extroverts, others may be introverts. And it will help you to also understand the uniqueness of everyone. At the same time, it will humble you enough to know that you're not the only unique person in that room. Everyone is unique in their own way. In fact, your differences are your unique. Yes, your differences are your uniqueness. If everyone is an extrovert, if everyone is an introvert, it may not be so, you know, very splendid, if I will call it that way. But one thing you should know is that your differences is your uniqueness. That's why you should know your, you should do the personality test, both for yourself, for your team members, for your family members, for everyone that is around you, that you have, the opportunity to tell to do that test. They should do that test. they should be able to leverage the results that comes from that test. So that is one of the tests I encourage you to do if you have not done it for yourself, and also extend it to your team member and also for your family member. Another test. Another test that can help you know who you are is the temperament test. The temperament test. The temperament test will help you to understand your temperament. So people are sanguine, we have melancholy, we have phlegmatic, and we have choleric. And you can actually have two of these temperaments dominating in you. I mean, dominance in you. You can actually have two of these temperaments inside of you. For example, I'm a sanguine, more of a sanguine and less of a choleric. You need to have a picture of who you are. And some of the ways you can do this is by leveraging on this test, taking this test. Get to know who you truly are. Get to know your strengths, your weaknesses. Get to know your uniqueness. Get to know your blind spots. Get to know things about you that can help you to be able to function at your highest maximum capacity. Let's take an example of um, an equipment. Let's say you bought an equipment. If you don't read the manual, you may not be able to properly use that equipment to the fullest capacity. You may not be able to even fix the equipment, or, as I said, use the equipment. That's why you need to be able to read the manual. That's why you should be able to uh, every person who wants to use that equipment should be able to go through the manual, should know so much about that equipment that he or she can couple the equipment and use that equipment. So it is with us. You need to know yourself for you to be able to know your best abilities. I repeat, you need to know yourself for you to be able to know your best abilities. If you don't know yourself, if you have not discovered, yourself, if you're not evolving in your discovery about yourself, you may not even know your abilities, your best points, your strengths, your weaknesses. Because knowing yourself will help you to leverage your strengths in the area of your resources, your time, and your energy. Knowing yourself will help you to leverage your strengths in the area of your resources, in the area of your time, in the area of your energy, for you to be able to improve on yourself. That's why you need to know yourself. Know yourself. And by taking this test, the personality test will help you to know more about yourself. The temperament test will help you to know more about your temperament. There's another one called the Dix test. The Dix test is also a test you can still use, you should use to know more about yourself. And there are many more psychometric tests that you should do to discover who you are, in order for you to maximize your potential to the fullest, in order for you to improve on yourself. Remember, you need to know yourself for you to be able to improve on yourself. You need to be able to know yourself so you can channel your energy, channel your time and resources to your strength, to your strength. Channel your time and your energy to your strengths. Also, we have so as I said, self-awareness is powerful. Leverage on your uniqueness. Self-awareness is powerful. Please always leverage on your uniqueness. Give me a second. Mhm. So as I said, okay, sorry. As I earlier said, self awareness is powerful. Always leverage on your uniqueness. Self awareness, being able to know who you are, is powerful. When you are aware of who you are, you can be able to leverage on your uniqueness. You can be able to improve on the positive area about on you. You can be able to improve on the positive area of you, the positive area around you. And if you improve on the positive area around you, the negative area around you will slowly, subtly become invisible because there's a lot of energy that comes from positivity, a lot of energy that comes from your strength. Your strength somehow overshadows your limitations, your weaknesses, because you have put so much energy in pushing out and building on your strength. And that's why you need to be self-aware about yourself. Another thing here we should also look at is listen, delete. Here we go. Oh, sorry, presentation. So this will be another slide that we should look into. Um, is have a dream. Have a dream. It is the possibility of a better future, of a better version. It is the possibility of a better version of you that makes reinvention necessary. I repeat, have a dream. It is the possibility of a better version of you that makes reinvention necessary. Set short term, medium term, long term goals that will take you to the fulfillment of your dream. Now, let me build on this topic of having a dream. Have a dream. Have a vision for your life. How will I put it again? Have a dream. Have a dream. Have a vision for your life. Plan your 5 years time, your 10 years time. Envision it. See yourself somewhere, and somewhere good, somewhere possible, somewhere positive as well. Have short term goals, medium term goals, and even long term goals for your life. Don't be visionless about your life. Don't take your life as a matter of chance. Have a dream, have a plan, and see how you can move with that plan as much as possible. Fix your eyes on that plan. Have goals for your life. When someone asks you about where you want to see yourself and what you are doing to get there, have a plan. It must not be a perfect plan, but at least it should be a workable plan that you are working towards. And it's looking realistic, not just to you, but to other people. So have a dream for your life. That's one thing I want to just emphasize. There's so many people who don't have dreams for their lives. So many people who don't have plans for their life, or they have abandoned their plan and they are so visionless. And I want to encourage you and encourage everyone, have a dream for your life. Your life is a possibility if only you can take that step to envision your life. Every year, I always do something. I draw a vision board for myself. And I go as far as giving my vision board to a graphic designer to put my vision for that year into a graphic and put my face on it. And I run with that vision for 1 year. It could be a 5 years tag, a five agenda target, a 10 agenda target. I put those things in writing and I go forward to giving it to a graphic designer to put it into a graphic for me and put my face in it. That's how far I go with my vision board. Have a vision board, a 5, agenda target, 10 agenda target for each year. Short-term plan, long-term plan, and even medium-term plan. By so doing, your life will be moving with growth. Your life will be evolving with growth. Your life will not be scattered or unstructured. You know what you want to achieve, and you try your best to see how you can achieve these things, these goals at the closest or the nearest time possible. And even when you don't achieve it, you still try again. You still build yourself. You still pull yourself to keep going, to achieving them. Have a dream for your life. Another thing I want to talk about today is give me a minute to pull up my presentation again. If you're just joining in, welcome. Today we are talking on how to reinvent your life, and we are now in how you can reinvent your life. We have moved from why you need to reinvent your life, and we are now in how you can reinvent your life. And the first thing I talk about is self-awareness. Having an awareness of who you are is very important. Know who you are now. And one of the ways you can do that is by building your temperament, is by doing the temperament test, taking the psychometric test of your strengths and your weaknesses, the personality test, the temperament test, the DIX test, your leadership skills. You need to do tests regarding your leadership skills. And the DIX test is a good test to check your leadership skills and that of your team members. And now we have moved into having a dream for your life, and having a dream that there's a possibility, there's a better version of you that can be invented and is necessary. And this can be done by having short-term goals, long-term goals, and medium-term goals. Now we are talking about acquiring knowledge and re-engineering your life. You need new resources, knowledge. Knowledge is the resource of the soul. That is why education is powerful, and self-education is the way to go. Self-education is the way to go. Acquire knowledge. Another thing you need to do, another way you can reinvent your life is acquire knowledge. Another way you can reinvent your life is to acquire knowledge. Acquire knowledge. You need new knowledge to be able to reinvent your life. You need to upskill, new skills, new knowledge. Yes, you need for you to be able to, you need to upskill, as I said. Education is very powerful. Education is a powerful tool. And one thing I would also like to let you know, one thing I would also want to let you know is that you can self-educate yourself. You may not have the resources to go to school or get the highest degree or the best degree on earth, but you can self-educate yourself if you decide to pay the price of discipline, to read, to study, to learn something, even if it's 1% of knowledge you gain every day, 1% of something new. Learn something new every day, even if it's 1%. Learn something new every day. Acquire knowledge. Self-educate yourself. If you don't have the resources to go to school or to acquire the best education, self-educate yourself. Knowledge is a powerful tool to reinvent yourself. And also, I want to talk about associate with, okay, acquire new skills. Aside acquiring knowledge, maximize. Aside acquiring knowledge, aside acquiring knowledge, we should also acquire new skills. Aside acquiring knowledge, acquire new skills. And another thing you need to know about these skills is that you need to develop the capacity to solve real problems or to solve old ones to sorry, you need to develop the capacity to solve new problems or to solve old ones at a new level. Acquire skills as well. And you need to develop the capacity to solve old problems. Rather, let me put it this way, acquire skills as well. And you need to develop the capacity to solve new problems or to solve old problems in a new level. Yes, acquire new skills, and you need to develop the capacity to solve new problems or to solve old ones in a new level. So you need to acquire new skills. You can change the way you can change the way you make money or the level at which you earn it. Never stop learning. Be excellence oriented. Never stop learning. Never stop learning. Have excellence as your watchword. Be excellence oriented. Learning is the bedrock of life. A learning soul is a living soul. Never stop learning at every level of your life. That's a way, those are ways you can reinvent yourself, restructure yourself, and evolve with growth. Also, associate with people who have experienced reinvention. Choose your friends, your spouse, your boss, your mentors wisely. Associate with people who have experienced reinvention. Choose your spouse, choose your boss, choose your mentors wisely. Choose your friends and your associates wisely. Associate with people who have gone through the process of reinvention, who have experienced it, and who can guide you through your reinvention process. Another thing I want to say here is act, experience, experiment and add value. Be persistent. Cultivate new habits. Your greatest reward sometimes is not the achievement of a goal, it is who you become in the process. Unleash your potential by daring. Now, unleash your potential by daring. If you need to reinvent yourself, you cannot stop daring to do new things. Act, experiment. Yes, add value to people, add value and experiment and always act. Don't procrastinate. So if you need to reinvent yourself, you need to understand that you need to dare to do new things in new ways, in new levels. You're not a failure because you dare. No, dares are not failures. And just to add, that even if you thought you failed when you dare, you didn't fail, you learned. There is something you should always know. Even when you fail, you never failed. You only learned how not to do something in that way and how to try to do it in another way, how to experiment in another way. So no one is a failure. Everyone no one is a failure. Even if you felt you failed, you didn't fail. You learned. You learned something. You learned a way, you learned how not to do it that way next time. And that to me is experience. That to me is experiment as well. So experiment, act, and dare. These are ways you reinvent yourself by daring new things. Also, I will say here that just to wrap it up and to call it a day, yes, to wrap it up and to call it a day, I will say here that, let's say presentation. Um, Learn to deal with loss. You should know that a part of us dies when our loved one dies, but a business or a marriage, also a business or a marriage dies as well. I've talked about losses. Don't get stuck. You will feel a wide range of emotions like anger, bitterness, denial, guilt, but don't ever rest on that. No, don't ever rest on those emotions. Exercise your power to respond and focus on the positive in the situation. Switch to gratitude, accept what you can change in the past, and focus on what you cannot change in the future. I'm trying to speed up this. Brand deliberately as you change, help people to know the new you. Leverage media. What gets attention is the value you can add. So I want you to use your own life as a brand. Even as you change, people should know that you are changing, you are evolving, you are reinvented. Your life will be the brand that you will put out there. So even as you change, let people see it in you that you are reinventing yourself, you are restructuring your life. Things are not like the old your it's not like the old self. You are changing the status quo of yourself and you're moving forward. With reinvention, you will go from one level of success to another non-stop. Thank you. So let's end here. And um, by saying that, sorry, by saying that with reinvention, you will go from one level of success to another non-stop. With reinvention, you will go from one level of success to another non-stop. And that is how you can reinvent yourself. And that's why reinvention is greatly encouraged. It's mandatory. It's not optional. It takes you from one level to another. As I gave an earlier example, probably you were a supervisor, and you were promoted to becoming a manager. For you to maintain that position and succeed in it, you need to reinvent yourself, your skill, your capacity. Let's say as a supervisor, you were supervising 10 people. Now you're a manager. You cannot use that same skill of being a supervisor. And let's also say, as a manager, you are now managing 50 people or 100 people. You cannot use the same skill you used to supervise 10 people to manage 100 people. You need to reinvent yourself, add more skill to yourself, more knowledge, more experience to yourself, experiments rather. You need to act more. You need to get a mentor and learn more. You need to be mentored more. You need to go into a learning stage, a deeper learning stage, because and you also need to learn leadership skills, managerial skills to be able to successfully manage the 100 people. And let's now say that you were promoted from a manager to a managing director. It's still not the same skill or the same capacity you use as a manager managing 100 people that you will use as a managing director to manage directors That's an executive level. And for you to be able to succeed in an executive level, you need to have executive skills. You need to have a higher level of leadership skills, managerial skills, a higher level, of these skills, higher mentoring and higher capacity, knowledge driven capacity. You need to acquire more knowledge. You need to, do more to be able to be successful as a managing director. Each of these stages require greater level of growth, greater level of evolving, reinvention. And that's why you need to reinvent yourself strategically, procedurally, in a continuous manner. Reinvention should not stop at any stage. When you stop reinventing yourself, you stop growing, you stop desiring, increase. That's why you need to keep reinventing yourself. When you stop reinventing yourself, you stop desiring improvement in your personal life, in your career, in your family, in every area of your life. Reinvention is needed so you can keep growing. And as I earlier said when we started, the human life is a life that evolves with growth. When we came out of our mother's womb. We were babies, but as we grew, we reinvented into becoming babies, to becoming teenagers, to becoming young adults, to becoming older adults, and becoming grandpas, grandma. That's the human life. That's the biological life of a human being. If your biological life can reinvent, can evolve rather, can evolve, then I believe strongly that your career, your intellectual life, your marital life, your financial life, and every area of your life should also evolve strategically and continuously. Strategically and continuously. Same with even the life cycle of a butterfly. Let's give the example of the life cycle of a butterfly. When a butterfly, in biology, we're told that the life cycle of a butterfly is from the larva to the pupa, from the pupa to the maggot, from the maggot to the beautiful matured butterfly. If a butterfly can evolve in cycles of growth to becoming a beautiful butterfly, I believe that as human beings, we should evolve more. We should not be stagnant. We should not be left behind. We should not be even if we should not get to a point where we will be irrelevant or outdated in every stage of our life and in every area of our lives. In every area of our lives. Even when life hits us, we should know that we shouldn't sit on those, sad moods. We should find a way to get new beginnings out of old ashes. We should find a way to start again, even when it looks like all has fallen. So, with this, I believe that you will start reinventing your life with the techniques I've given to you to build your life and put your life in order. Thank you again, and I'll see you next week for week 4 of our 21 weeks of growth. Thank you. Oh, before I go, yeah, my you. Wait, just give me first. Thank you. Don't do that, please. I'm alright. Stop. Don't do that. Thank you, everybody, and I'll see you. Bye for now. Bye.